Okay, we're back. We had to shut the door because there was a helicopter flying circles around our house and it was so loud I couldn't think to read. So we're gonna have to do this in two parts. And I've lost my phone holder. Okay, the cemetery. Now, no human being wants to be in a cemetery at night. No normal one, anyway, but I had to find Gideon's compass. Ruth Ann, Letty, I called, hoping they'd go back with me, but they were already out of earshot. I couldn't ask Shady. I wasn't sure how he'd feel about us following Mr. Underhill into the cemetery in the first place. I didn't plan to show him the note either. That would surely end our spy hunt, so I did the only thing I could. I turned my feet back toward that cemetery, and I made them walk, one in front of the other. The moon was on the rise and shed some light for me to look around by, but also made strange shadows on the tombstones. I searched near the fence, but found no compass. I slipped back through it to look. Wandering around the markers, I couldn't help noticing the dates, wondering if Gideon had known some of these folks while they were still among the living. Some stones had sweet little verses. Others had something about the person who was 6 feet under. Some of them spoke volumes about the deceased's life and times. For example, John Foster. It says, "Here lies John Foster, exemplary humanitarian, distinguished businessman, civic leader, generous philanthropist, and devoted father of 10. And next to John Foster, it said, "Here lies Mary Foster, wife of John." It says nothing else about her life. Not the fact that she's the mother of 10, just that she's his wife. Poor lady. The wind was picking up, blowing a warm, dry air over me. I was about to give up my hunt until morning when I heard a faint sound, something akin to church bells beckoning in the distance. I squeezed back through the fence and let the breeze take me just a little further toward the sound. I knew I was nearing the gate marked Perdition. And sure enough, there was what Charlotte had called Miss Sadie's divining parlor. That den of iniquity. Preachers use the word iniquity when talking about the strange and the wicked. That divining parlor looked to fit the bill. Wind chimes of all shapes and sizes lined the porch, making their lonely music in the breeze. And hanging among them was my compass, glinting in the moonlight. How it had gotten there, I couldn't be sure, but I knew the wind hadn't carried it. Someone had hung it there. The house was dark, and a rocking chair added an unharmonious sound to the delicate tinkling of the chimes. It creaked back and forth in the dark shadows of the porch. I opened the wrought iron gate with all its welded forks and pans and tender-footed my way to the porch. The compass hung far from the stairs, and the porch was too high to reach from the ground. But beside the uneven steps was a large clay pot. Going up onto the porch seemed like it would be asking for trouble, so I scooted the pot over. It was so heavy I could barely move it. I hoped I'd scooted it within reach of the compass. My balance was good enough. I stepped up on the lip of the pot, holding on to the porch rail to steady myself and reach for the compass. Just another inch. If the breeze would just catch the compass and nudge it my way. But the breeze had died down. But the rocking chair still moved. I stood motionless, realizing that it wasn't the wind rocking the chair, but a large, dark form sitting in it. I caught my breath with a tiny cry and tumbled to the ground, breaking the pot in two. The figure heaved itself from its chair, and I confess, I didn't stay long enough to see what happened next. I don't blame her. I ran home, made an excuse to Shady about not being hungry, and was in bed before you could say boo.
Boo!
Even as my heart was still thumping loud, it didn't drown out the sound of those chimes in my head.